How entrepreneurs can beat imposter syndrome. Welcome to the School of Self-Worth Live. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sam Osborne, the Self-Worth Guy. Today is episode number 149, and I'm talking about how entrepreneurs can beat imposter syndrome, and is a topic that I know that lots of entrepreneurs go through, or it's an experience they go through, and it's an experience I went through as an entrepreneur. So there's one message I want all the entrepreneurs to remember today, and that is keep it simple and keep it consistent. If you can keep it simple and keep it consistent, you are going to find that you can beat imposter syndrome over the long term and day to day. And I'm going to talk about three things that are going to help you to keep it simple and to keep yourself consistent as you do your thing as an entrepreneur, and you go out there and you try to achieve entrepreneurial success, whatever that means for you. So the three things that I'm going to talk about today, number one is that most of imposter syndrome is imagined. Number two, I'm going to talk about how confidence comes after action. And number three, I'm going to talk about doing one thing every single day. Let's go through those three things. So the main message I want you to remember today when it comes to beating imposter syndrome as an entrepreneur is keep it simple and keep it consistent. I cannot emphasize how much the importance of keeping everything you do on a daily basis is simple, and just do the same sort of thing every day and just get really good at the small things. I had lots of people tell me, 10 years ago, consistency, you got to have consistency, you got to do it, show up every day, and you got to have systems and a routine. And I thought, yeah, I'll get round to that one day. But I found over time that it's the key. If you can just do one thing, like for me, in the last few months, I have been going live as much as I can. And that has been so good for my own confidence. So I really recommend not only going live, but doing something that is going to help you with as an entrepreneur out there. Put yourself out there every single day if you can. That is a really simple thing that you can do, and it's consistent. Now you might feel, well, I'm an imposter. I feel like an imposter. How can I do that, Sam? Of course, listen. The first thing you need to understand is that you're going to have a lot of voices going on inside your head of, what if people find out that I don't know what I'm talking about? What if people, and all these what if thoughts in our head. And that's why I want to remind you of today's, the first point, and that is most of the thoughts regarding imposter syndrome that you feel like an imposter are imagined, meaning you make them up based on nothing in reality. We think, oh, what if these people are going to say this thing? Or what if these people react to this? It's bullshit that you are making up inside your head. So stop it, okay? Remember what I said in previous videos. Imposter syndrome is a sign of a fantastic imagination. So use your imagination in a better way. Cultivate it. Rather than imagine that the worst is going to happen, why don't you imagine that the fantastic is going to happen? The best thing is going to happen for your entrepreneurial success. So most of imposter syndrome is imagined. It's going on inside your head. Okay, so keep it simple, keep it consistent, whatever you're doing, and that is going to help bring down the voices inside your head, which is where imposter syndrome really affects us and comes from, if you know what I mean. It's like it belongs in here. Imposter syndrome isn't out there. It's an inside job. All right. Second thing I want to talk about is that confidence comes after action. So if you're an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, I have to tell you a little story that there was a time when I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel good enough. And of course, I had all those voices inside my head of telling me the exact same thing, that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't ready. And I started to believe it, and maybe you can relate to that. But I found that you just have to go through the fire. Okay, you have to do the thing that you're afraid of doing. In my case, it was picking up the phone and making cold call sales calls, right? To, potential clients and saying, do you want to book me? That was scary at first. And I mumbled and fumbled my way and stuttered on the phone. You should have heard me. I was not smooth at all. But I thought confidence was something that I could get before I took any action. That's not how it works. You can imagine yourself to be confident, but you really have to do something first. Then you get the feeling in your body of, hey, I did a good job, and your confidence lifts a little bit more. So entrepreneurs, if you've got to make sales calls, if you've got to put yourself out there somehow, remember that confidence comes after you take action. And I want you to go out and take some action, and that's going to lift your confidence. And you might feel like a total fool in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, people are just going to point the finger at me. Forget that. All right. Keep consistent. Keep it simple. Don't worry about being rusty in the beginning. Everyone's rusty in the beginning. Everyone's going to slip, trip, fall, fail. You know what you do as an entrepreneur? You get back up, because you got to remember, you don't have to be this amazing, polished entrepreneur in the beginning before you start and put yourself out there into the marketplace. All you have to remember is that you have some value that you want to give to the marketplace. That is the most important thing. Don't worry if you don't feel ready. You're going to learn how to improve your game, your product, and your skill as you go along. It's natural. That's the normal path, okay? The last thing I want to talk about is doing one thing each day. So this comes back to this idea of being consistent. So choose something that you're going to do for the next 30 days, the next 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is. Make yourself these nice little projects. You go, right, I'm going to dedicate my business to doing this one specific task every day and get really good at it. It might be sales calls. It might be going live via, YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is that you do. It might be networking. It might be business planning. Whatever it is, do one thing every day and you will get better and better at it. And this is going to help imposter syndrome come down, because you're going to start to have evidence that you're making gains, that you're progressing. And I tell you what, the more action and evidence you have, or the more action you take, and that's going to create more evidence around you that you're progressing, the imposter syndrome voice gets nice and quiet and goes into the background, because it's got nothing to feed off. Because you start to go, you know what? I'm starting to grow. I'm starting to actually become the entrepreneur that I've wanted to become. So let's recap. Entrepreneurs can overcome imposter syndrome by remembering this one simple message, and that is keep it simple and keep it consistent. Now, if you've enjoyed today's video, I've got a free gift for you. It's called Crush Imposter Syndrome Forever, the starter kit for bulletproof confidence, and you can get it at samosborne.com/starter kit. And that is it's about 8 videos on, it's an introduction program to beating imposter syndrome. And I really think that entrepreneurs will get a lot of benefit out of that. And I invite you to join the School of Self-Worth Facebook group and ask your questions as an entrepreneur about imposter syndrome. I'd love to make a video for you. Now, a couple of extra things. Number one, I'm starting a new video series where I interview entrepreneurs. I'm going to interview psychologists. I'm going to interview a range of professions about imposter syndrome and what imposter syndrome is like when you're in that profession. And we're going to get people to come and live stream with me. If you want to be on my live stream, I would love that. Just send me an email, sam@samosborne.com. Say, Sam, I want in, and tell me what profession you do. And we're going to shoot the breeze for 20 minutes. It'll be really relaxed. You tell what it's like to be in your profession experiencing imposter syndrome. We'll start a conversation, and it'll be good for everyone. We'll create this community in a conversation. Second thing is, I've got a book coming out. It's called How to Beat Imposter Syndrome and Be Confident, 30-day challenge workbook. That's coming out probably in the next month or so. I'm just working on it right now. All right, everybody, I wish you a great day. And remember, keep it simple and keep it consistent. And that is how entrepreneurs can beat imposter syndrome.